unearthed a discovery in his homeland of Ethiopia that made scientific history.
Right away, I was able to tell that this is a child of a human ancestor.
The fossil, known as the world's oldest child, gained this scientist worldwide recognition, but that is only part of his story.
I made this. That's my job. I consider myself to be able to do what is often described as impossible.
This week on African Voices, we meet paleoanthropologist Zerai Alemseged and learn how his discovery from over 3 million years ago can inspire generations to come.
My work is beyond nations, beyond nationalities, beyond continents. It unites everyone on the planet. The question, how long did it take to find this type of fossil, is a bit frustrating, because if we talk about the moment of discovery, then it's going to ignore the whole process of scientific endeavor, which is much more exciting, actually. So these are the cast or replicas of the skeleton of Salam.
Salam is the name Zerai Alemseged gave to the skeletal remains he found in Ethiopia back in December of 2000. Scientific analysis later revealed that they were the remains of a child from 3.3 million years ago, making it the earliest child of ancient ancestors ever discovered, a major milestone in anthropology discovered by a 31-year-old Alemseged early in his career.
I graduated from the University of Paris back in 1998. And then I went back to Ethiopia with the idea that the best way for me to be a great paleoanthropologist, a good scientist, is to do what has never been done before. And the best way to do that was to acquire a permit for a new site.
That new site was in the Dakika region of Ethiopia, strategically located in the middle of two well-known archaeological sites, Middle Awash, where many early humans have been found, and Hadar, where one of the most famous fossils, Lucy, was discovered. Alemseged soon found out why such a prime location was untouched by anthropologists.
In '99, I came up with the Dakika research project. It was a one-man's project, literally. So you can call it Zerai's project anyway. And that project was arguably the first Ethiopian or African-led paleoanthropological project ever. I had less than $1,000 to start that project. Now, when you go there, you need close to $100,000. That gives you a perspective. So I went to the site. The area is not only difficult to access, but it's unfortunately a bone of contention for two groups that occupy that region. So when I went there, not only did I have to be a driver, not only did I have to be a cook, not only did I have to be a scientist, obviously, I also had to be a very good diplomat to really navigate through the very complex local politics that existed at the time. And sometimes, obviously, as a young diplomat, I would make mistakes, and I was shot at 3 times. Fortunately, no one was hurt, but then I managed to eventually win the hearts of both groups. And for the first time, those two groups agreed that I could work because I was able to convince them what I do there is not a tribal work, it's not even just an Ethiopian. I told them it's any discovery that I make here is going to unite not only you guys, not only Ethiopians, not only Africans, but the whole planet that involves 7 billion people. And they got it. They got it.
After overcoming the diplomatic issues, Alemseged was able to do his work. He and his small, inexperienced crew of locals excavated the hot and dry land for more than a year until the historic day of discovery.
So what happened on that afternoon, which is one of the afternoons of the many, many, many hundreds of days, one afternoon, we went to the site and I said, we're going to explore this landscape, or this hillside. Actually, two of my locals were so exhausted, they said, "We're too tired, we cannot follow you." So I just took 2 soldiers and then one of the assistants with me, and we started to basically walk through the sites as we do it systematically, and then picking up every single rock on a vast area. And then one of my assistants then called me. He says, "Oh, doctor, I see something here." And then I went there, and then I see the cheekbone part. This part is called zygomatics, sticking out of the rock. I turned it upside down, and my jaw was literally dropping. You have this child encased in a block of sandstone with a baby teeth still visible, a very vertical forehead, small canine. Right away I was able to tell that this is a child of a human ancestor. But it's so rare, it's so unbelievable that I just couldn't accept that was the case when I saw that skeleton.
Alamzaghed did not want to make his discovery public until he had a more complete picture of what he had found. So he kept it quiet for more than 6 years as he meticulously prepared and analyzed the fossil.
Everything, the skeleton was encased in a block of sandstone matrix, which is very densely compact, very endured sand, that I had to go literally using my dental instruments, remove the sand grain by grain at a time. Here is what she looks like now, whereby I was able to remove the lower jaw out of the upper jaw and then really nicely preserved the skull. To determine the age at death and the sex, we employed techniques that are really cutting edge. As you know, there are 2 ages to Salam. One is, when did she die? This is in terms of geologic time. That information, that is, she died 3.3 million years ago, comes from the sediments within which she was embedded. And that is, if you have a volcanic eruption that takes place 3 million years ago, then you can determine using radioactive dating, it's like the carbon dating, you can determine when that volcanic eruption happened.
By using a super microscope, Alamzaghed was able to see details in the teeth embedded in the skull that told him the age and the sex. He now knew the fossil was that of a 3-year-old girl, and he was finally ready to share her with the world.
When the time came to go to the press conference, it was like, a woman is pregnant, and then she is holding that baby for 9 months. And when the baby comes out, what happens is, in spite of the pain, in spite of the long, tedious process of carrying the baby, you see her smiling. You see her beautiful, wonderful face trying to share that baby with her husband or with the doctors. So I shared my baby with the audience. But the different thing here is that I was sharing a child that belongs not only to me, but to humanity, to 7 billion individuals.
But Alamzaghed has children that he doesn't have to share with the world. It's another part of his story that brings a natural balance to his life.
I'm studying this in my lab every single day. And when I come back home, I have children growing in front of my eyes. And I think that's a perfect combination for science to happen.